All right, welcome to another episode of the Jimbo Nolan podcast. We're coming off a nice Jets victory. We won by over a touchdown. And for the first time in a long time, I told this to my girlfriend literally just like 2 minutes ago. The Jets actually looked like a real football team for the first time in a long time. Because they have not looked like a real football team for a long time. They scored over 20 points. And when the Jets score over 20 points, it feels like a Super Bowl victory for us Jets fans because it just doesn't happen. The Jets never score over 20 points. But today they did. Rodgers looked great. And we're going to get into the Giants as well in just a little bit because Daniel Jones bounced back. You could argue that if they had their kicker, they get this win. First play of the game, they go down with their kicker. Their defense played great. The Giants defense, they got 5 sacks total. They only lose by 3 points. So just a field goal. Just a field goal. When they didn't have their kicker all game, they forced 7 field goals. Daniel Jones, I think he was 3 of 6 in the red zone today. So Jones bounces back. Rodgers bounces back. We're going to get into some baseball too. Lindor goes out with a back injury. He's going for some MRIs right now, actually. So a little bit worried if you're a Mets fan. And then the Yankees, Judge hits his 53rd home run, lifts the Yanks over the Red Sox. They get the series win over Boston. And now, yes, they got a decent lead in the AL East right now over the Orioles. We're going to get into all that, but we're going to start off with the Jets defeating the Titans 24-7. Aaron Rodgers played great, 18 of 30. I wouldn't say even great, but he did good enough. He did good enough to get the win. But no turnovers from Rodgers. No turnovers overall on the day, unless you count punts. But no turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions. So the Jets offense was clean. Outside of penalties, the Jets offense actually produced. I think the Jets need another receiver. They need another receiver or they need Mike Williams to start to get going a little bit more. We saw one great catch from him, which was a big catch, got him a first down in an important drive. But other than that, Mike Williams has been silent these first 2 weeks. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, they have a great connection, and I cannot wait to see that connection build across these next few weeks, especially across these next 3 weeks when we have 3 soft opponents. I think 3 easy wins that the Jets should get. And this should have been it was a stressful win. It was a stressful game. And at points in the game, I was like, maybe the Jets don't get this done. Maybe the Jets don't finish the job, but they did. And it was because they have a 4-time MVP calling the shots on the offense. But overall, Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, it looks like they have a connection, and it's only week 2. So that's a great sign right there. But then again, we were only beating the Tennessee Titans by a touchdown. And yes, it's a touchdown. 7 points is great. But we're supposed to be in the league with the San Francisco 49ers, with the Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. Like, we're not just trying to make the playoffs. We're not just trying to sneak into the playoffs. We're trying to win a Super Bowl here. So am I impressed with this win? No. Am I satisfied? Yes. But I'm not impressed by any means. But Rodgers did look good. I will say that. The offensive line, you could say if it plays a little bit better, Rodgers throws for over 200, 250 yards. The 2 touchdowns were great. He had a great throw to Breece Hall. Breece Hall with a great catch as well. Breece Hall with a great day overall. He had 114 total yards and a touchdown on the day. But Aaron Rodgers, he played well. He played very well. He is, I would say, the reason we won this game. Because last year, you take Rodgers out of this, substitute in even Tyrod Taylor. I don't think the Jets get this win. Because even Tyrod Taylor is not making that throw to Breece Hall. He's not. I think after this game, I'm saying the Jets needed more than just Aaron Rodgers. Because the Jets need more receivers. Garrett Wilson is phenomenal, and Garrett Wilson is a beast. But we cannot rely on him every single game like they've been these first 2 weeks. Mike Williams needs to play better. We need to see more of Xavier Gibson. Nathaniel Hackett needs to get creative because we all know that Xavier Gibson has the talent to get involved. It's just up to Hackett on whether he can get him involved. Breece Hall, I mean, he's just Breece Hall. You could plug him in anywhere on offense. You could put him at receiver. And obviously, he's a beast running back. He's probably, I'd say, a top 5 running back this year. But Breece Hall is all over. He is the juggernaut of this offense. Him and Garrett Wilson are the juggernaut of this offense. Offensive line needs to play better for sure. But, I mean, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, on the day, they played great. Breece Hall, his numbers overall, 114 total yards, like I said before, touchdown on the day receiving. 62 rushing yards on 14 attempts. He averaged 4.4 yards per carry, 7 receptions, 52 yards receiving wise. Garrett Wilson, 4 catches, 57 yards. So total, Garrett Wilson's actually having a great start to the year. Last year, 60 yards. So we do need to see, I would say, a little bit more in the yardage category. But, I mean, when you look at yards per catch, he only had 4 receptions this week, 6 receptions last week. So 10 receptions. He's averaging over 10 yards a catch. So Garrett Wilson, he's off to a great start. Breece Hall's off to a great start. And I would say Aaron Rodgers didn't even play bad in week 1. And he played, I would say, actually, he, like I said before, he got us the win in week 2. So Rodgers is playing great. The offense, it's really just the offensive line and the other receivers, because Braylon Allen showed us that we have 2 running backs, not just one. Braylon Allen gets 2 touchdowns today, a receiving and a rushing touchdown. Big day for the rookie. So yeah, I mean, we got 2 running backs now. That's what I would say. But offensive line, we need to see more. And receiving room, we definitely need to see more, because, I mean, Mike Williams, only 1 catch, 19 yards. Like I said before, it was a big catch, got us a first down, an important drive. But then you look outside of that, it's Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. That's it. Garrett Wilson, 4 catches. Breece Hall, 7 catches. Allen Lazard had 2 catches. Tyler Conklin had 1 catch. And then Corley had 1 catch for 4 yards. So you got to be a little worried about the wide receiver room for the Jets, because the 2 best pass catchers today, the only 2 that got touchdowns today in the receiving room, were not even receivers. They were running backs. And listen, Garrett Wilson is a beast. He is. He played great today. But at the same time, just because you have Garrett Wilson, it doesn't make your receiving room great. You might have one great receiver, but it does not make the entire receiving room great. We need to see more out of Williams, Lazard, and Corley. And yes, Tyler Conklin too, because it's coming to a point where Jets fans, everybody really, we're always like, Tyler Conklin can be great. Tyler Conklin has potential. Well, when are we going to see it? Because he had 1 catch for 10 yards today. And then again, only 2 targets, but I mean, it's really only the running backs that were getting the job done in the receiving game today. So Rodgers, he's always utilized his running backs, but you still got to be a little bit worried when the running backs lead the day in receiving. But yeah, offensively, Jets, I'd say they played good enough, because we said it all year last year. If the Jets offense scores more than 20 points, they make the playoffs. So if they can score more than 20 points, I think every single game this season, they make the playoffs. Defense, I would say they played well. They played well. Will McDonald, man, 3 sacks on the day for that guy. So you got to give him credit. We've been looking at him all offseason saying, without Hassan Reddick, losing Bryce Huff, trading John Franklin Myers, we're really going to need to see Will McDonald take a step forward. And today, 3 crucial sacks, 3 big sacks against Will Levis. So Will McDonald, you got to give him props. And then the secondary, Tony Adams played great as well. Tony Adams was all over that secondary today. He was playing great. Sauce Gardner, I would say he played good too. Outside of that 1 touchdown that he did let up, when, you kind of look at the replay and they should have downed him at the 1, but no matter what, Sauce Gardner, he cannot be letting up that big play. He's too good of a cornerback to be letting up that big play. So we do got to see Sauce improve there. But outside of that, the defense did play very well, only allowing 17 points. Like I said, Jets defense, you allow less than 20 points. We should be able to make the playoffs as long as the defense plays like it did today. You force multiple turnovers, you get the interception, the fumble recovery. I think they forced 2 fumbles for Will Levis. Let's see, just to fact check myself. Yeah, he lost that 1 fumble, the interception. And then he also had, Will Levis, 2 fumbles. So, yeah, it was a good day for defensively for the Jets as well. Offensively, like I said before, outside of Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Aaron Rodgers, we need to see a little bit more from everybody on the Jets offense. But I think that's a Nathaniel Hackett issue, because like I said before, you got guys that are talented. You do. You have Braylon Allen, who we saw. Braylon Allen, I got to throw him in with Breece, Garrett, and Rodgers today. He played great, but We got to see Hackett utilize some guys more. Mike Williams only getting one catch. Alan Lazard not being able to, how is Alan Lazard not getting involved? How is Tyler Conklin not getting involved? These are guys that have talent. Why are they not getting involved? So I'm looking at Nathaniel Hackett these next 3 weeks against 3 soft opponents. Because listen, we got 3 soft opponents. We're going to be going up against the Bills in week 6, I want to say. So we got the Patriots Thursday night, which is also kind of BS that we got 3 games in 11 days. Gosh, the NFL is trying to kill Aaron Rodgers, I guess. Who knows? But we got Patriots, Broncos, and Vikings. And when you look at those matchups, the Jets should be favored in every single game. Rodgers is better than Jacoby Brissett. Rodgers is better than Bo Nix. I hope Rodgers is better than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, who had a day, actually, again, defeating the 49ers, who we lost to. Darnold, 17-26, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I mean, yeah, he does have Jay Jettas, but you got to give Sam Darnold some credit, man. But listen, these next 3 weeks, Jets got to go up into the Bills matchup 4-1. They got to go up into that matchup 4-1. And that gives them a shot at maybe even taking the lead in the division. Hopefully Miami can lose. I mean, Miami already did lose. So they lost to the Bills. Thank you, Bills, there. So we beat the Bills in week 6. We could take the lead in the AFC East. And that's what we want. That's what the Jets want. We don't want wild card. We want the division. We have Aaron Rodgers. We don't have, it's not like we signed Kirk Cousins. It's not like we brought in, just some reliable starting QB that's a little bit better than Zach Wilson. No, we brought in a 4-time MVP with one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the entire National Football League. The Jets don't just have playoff hopes. They have Super Bowl hopes. So they need to win the AFC East. These next 3 games, they need to win all 3 of them. Last week, everyone was like, oh, it was 1 game. Week 1, Rodgers' first week with the Jets. His real first week with the Jets. Give him a break. No, don't give him a break. We are supposed to be competing, if not beating, teams like the 49ers. You don't bring in a 4-time MVP to call the shots on offense to just make the playoffs. You bring in a 4-time MVP to win a Super Bowl. So these next 3 games are all must win for the Jets. And then week 6 against the Bills, that's also another must win game. And this brings me to my last question and my last point to the Jets today. Are they a legit threat to win the AFC? Because if they are a legit threat to win the AFC, they have to play better than they did today. They have to. The penalties, they have to clean that up. They have to play better on the defensive side of the ball against the Russian attack. They have to, because they got killed in week 1. They got killed in the first half today. I mean, you look at the numbers, Russian-wise for the Titans today. Tony Pollard was having a day, 62 yards. Will Levis 4 carries, 38 yards. And even Calvin Ridley had a 10-yard carry. So takeaways from this game, run defense needs to improve. We need more receivers, or we need Nathaniel Hackett to get these guys more involved. And the offensive line needs to play better. Because we have a 40-year-old quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP, and he is Aaron Rodgers. But he is also 40 years old. He cannot get sacked twice every single week. He cannot sustain the pressure that he did today and last week every single week. He is 40 years old. Yes, he is Aaron Rodgers, but he is 40 years old. So that's that for the Jets. Big win, and we're lucky these next 3 weeks that we got some soft opponents. And today was a must-win, too, because 3 games in 11 days. I'm not going to excuse the Jets Thursday if they do lose. But at the same time, if they do lose, you got to kind of factor in they played 3 games in 11 days to start the season. But at the same time, like I said before, we are not looking to make the playoffs. We are looking to make the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, you're still looking to make the playoffs, obviously, but you're not looking to just be a playoff team. You're looking to be a Super Bowl team. You got to beat the New England Patriots. When it's Aaron Rodgers versus Jacoby Brissett, you got to beat the New England Patriots. You just have to. I don't care. It's 3 games in 11 days. Are we going to be one of the best teams in the NFL like we should be? Or are we just going to be a playoff team? What's it going to be? I guess we find out this Thursday because, listen, no matter, this game, I will give the Jets a break. If they can scratch away with a win here, I will be happy. Because 3 games in 11 days, I will admit it is definitely tough. But at the same time, Super Bowl expectations. Got to beat Jacoby Brissett when you have Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's get into the Giants. I thought I was going to be able to say the Giants are 1-1 just like the Jets, but man, I mean, who expects the kicker to get hurt? You don't. You don't. So you cannot put it on Joe Shane and Brian Daboll for not having a backup kicker. You just can't. You just can't. It was an unfortunate loss. Daniel Jones played pretty good. I would say actually he played great, but I mean, are we going to call a great performance 178 yards? I mean, he played good. He did play good. I will say that. He definitely did bounce back. Malik Neighbors had a day, but he did kind of cost him the game late. Then again, you also can't put it on Malik Neighbors because it's his second professional game and 127 yards with a touchdown, averaged 12.7 yards a catch. So, Giants, I wouldn't be panicking. I mean, listen, going into this year, did you think, what was this year's goal? What's the goal for the Giants this year? It's to find out what Daniel Jones is actually made of, and it's to develop the young guys on the defensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, they played great. They forced 5 sacks overall. Bobby Okereke, he was great today. I mean, he's not a young guy you're looking to develop, but, I mean, he had a sack. You got to give Micah McFadden another sack. Jason Pinnock, 2 sacks as a safety, so that's pretty good. So it's really your linebackers and your secondary that were performing today. The defensive line, I do want to see a little bit more from, but Kayvon Thibodeau, he was pressuring the quarterback actually today, so you got to give him credit there. And listen, Jaden Daniels is dynamic. He is going to be hard to defend. They sacked him 5 times. That's a big plus. And he's going to be hard to sack too. So the fact that you sacked Jaden Daniels 5 times, that's good. That's good. It's really the only reason the Giants lost today is because they didn't have their kicker. And that's it. They have their kicker. They win today's game. They lost by a field goal. They forced 7 field goals. Their defense played great. Daniel Jones was 3 of 6 in the red zone. They played great. They played great. They just didn't have a kicker. That's it. And you can say all you want about Malik Neighbors dropping that pass in a crucial spot. But at the same time, Malik Neighbors is also in his first ever season playing for the New York Giants. And in his second professional game, he had probably the best day outside of Justin Jefferson out of all wide receivers in the NFL. So far, at least. I mean, it's only 5:21. We still got a lot more football left this week. But Malik Neighbors played great. Daniel Jones played great. I mean, even Devin Singletary, 95 rushing yards on 16 carries with a touchdown. He played great too. And the Giants defense, 5 sacks, forcing 7 field goals. They did everything they possibly could to win this football game, but they did not have a kicker. That's it. So you can't be panicking. I mean, you look at the next few weeks for the Giants. I mean, they can beat the Browns. They can definitely beat the Browns. The Browns are now 1-1. I mean, then again, they played the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence is not looking like the first overall pick right now. Then again, he was sacked 4 times. But Deshaun Watson, he's not what he used to be. So they can win that one. Then after they got the Browns. Why is the schedule not loading now? Of course. You got the Cowboys. That's going to be a tough one. The Seahawks, that's going to be a tough one, especially after Geno went off today. Bengals, that's another tough one. So, I mean, you would love to win this one, but at the same time, what are the goals of the season? Are you looking to make the playoffs? No. At this point, no. I don't think you are, because when you play the Browns, that's a 50-50 toss-up game, I'd say. I think it's definitely a winnable game for them, but when you got the Cowboys, Seahawks, Bengals, and Eagles the next 4 weeks, that's tough, man. That is tough. But, yeah, it's a test for Daniel Jones because the Browns do have a good defense. The Cowboys have a great defense. Seahawks, they ain't too shabby either. 2-0 to start the year. Bengals, I mean, are the Bengals. Eagles, we all know who the Philadelphia Eagles are. I mean, Giants play them twice a year. And even the Steelers, they have a pretty good defense too. Steelers don't have a bad defense either. We'll see what happens to them. They're actually up 7-0 on the Broncos right now, so the Steelers off to a pretty good start. But yeah, you got to be impressed, I would say, with the Giants' performance today. Got to be impressed with Daniel Jones' performance today. You know, he needed a game like today. He definitely needed a game like today. 16-28, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, everybody was calling for him. People were calling for him to get benched today. People were literally tweeting out last week, if he sucks at halftime, you got to put Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito in. And now you know, I mean, at least he's back. He's not, I would say you're confident that Daniel Jones doesn't suck. He might not be a Pro Bowl, all-pro quarterback, but let's see what he can do over these next few weeks against, I would say, 5 tough opponents. Browns are tough, Cowboys are tough, Seahawks are tough, Bengals are tough, Eagles are tough. And then even the Steelers are tough. So it's going to be interesting over these next few weeks for the Giants. We'll see what Daniel Jones is made of. Malik Neighbors had a great day. So you definitely got to be proud of that kid. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to hop into some baseball because the Mets losing Francisco Lindor again today in the second inning, going out with a back injury. He's getting an MRI actually right now. Yankees, Aaron Judge lifts the Yankees over the Red Sox for a series win. 53 home runs on the year. He's 10 away from 63. Can he get there? Can he get there? We'll talk all about it next on the Jimbo Nolan podcast. One guy who's been a lot more consistent than he was last year, who I want to get into on the offensive end, Anthony Vulpi. I mean, he's living up to the hype that he had last year. Obviously, he performed well on the defensive side, capturing that Gold Glove award, hitting over 20 home runs. But this season, a little bit less home runs, but the batting average has seen an increase. The on-base percentage has seen an increase. And then obviously his speed on the base paths always kills opposing teams. So what do you think Anthony Volpe is doing differently this year than last that he's seen so much more success from?
Yeah, well, first in the field, he's always been great defender. So I don't think there was much to improve there. But on the offensive side, I think he's really just trying to hit the ball the other way more, be more consistent, make more solid contact. And he's been able to do it. I love when you try to make adjustments, you realize what was working, what wasn't working, and you make an adjustment in the offseason, and you come back, and it works. That's something you love to see. So he's been definitely, obviously, with the higher average and getting on base more. But when you look at the actual mechanics of the swing, he's leveling out a little bit more. The bat path is more through the zone. He's not trying to pull the ball as much and lift it. It seems like the home runs come, but he's able to really go with the pitch the other way. And that's what you need. Out of this offense, the way it's structured, if you have a guy like that at the top of the lineup getting on base, you have Juan Soto to follow, Aaron Judge to follow. Those guys are the ones who are going to really drive the ball even more in the air. But you have a guy like Volpe who could at least get on base with a single or just tap one to the opposite field, kind of like Jeter in a way where he had that inside-out swing. It helps out so much. So just understanding the lineup, how it's constructed, and then seeing how he's been able to make adjustments to then fit that lineup even better. That's why I think the Yankees have been pretty solid on the offensive side, at least with the first half of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Judge, he has insane numbers, and we're going to get into him in a little bit. His last 50 games, he has 55 RBIs, and I think, like you alluded to, a big part of that is because Volpe is doing such a great job hitting in front of those guys. I feel like he's kind of realized All right, let's get back into it. What's up, Yuki? How we doing, man? We're about to get into the Mets, so make sure if you want to talk some Mets, you know what to do, man. You know what to do. How we feeling after Lindor's injury? Again, exits the game. 2 games in a row where Lindor exits the game because of a sore back. He's getting MRIs right now. It's definitely a tough loss. When you look at the standings right now, the Mets actually are down a half game. Luckily, the Braves do play one of the best teams in baseball, the Dodgers, tonight. 7-10. So make sure you do keep a close eye on that because we're looking for the Braves to obviously lose. So we keep that tie for that third wild card spot. Right now, Arizona is winning. San Diego, it looks like they are also winning right now. So that's not a good sign. But the Mets right now, 81-68. They're a half game out of that wild card spot. So hopefully the Braves can lose. So we got that tie going into this week. But the Mets, man, not looking great. Not looking great. 2 losses in a row now to the Phillies after a big win Friday night. Lindor going out with the injury in the second inning after getting a hit. He wasn't really running that hard to first base on his hit either. And you don't really run hard on a single that many times in baseball. But at the same time, he didn't look great running the first base. So you're definitely a little bit worried about Francisco Lindor. We have to wait and see what the MRIs say. There's no really definitive answer that I can give you. I can't give you a timetable. No one really can give you a timetable until this MRI comes back. You just got to keep your fingers crossed and hope it's just a sore back and Lindor can take maybe a day or 2 more off and come back healthy and be the MVP that he's been playing like, because he has been playing like an MVP this year. He's got a 271 batting average, 342 on base percentage, 494 slugging percentage. He's got 31 home runs on the year, 86 RBIs. I mean, he's been playing fantastic. He's been fantastic. And if the Mets lose him, we're screwed. Quite frankly, we're screwed. But this leads me into my next point. No matter how long Lindor is out, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, even if he comes back tomorrow, the Mets need 2 guys really badly right now. They need Pete Alonso and they need Brandon Nimmo. Because Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso, they deserve criticism. Quite frankly, you can say Pete Alonso has a lot of home runs. Brandon Nimmo, yeah, he has over 20 home runs this year, or might have over 20 home runs. I believe he only has 19 right now. But those 2 are supposed to play like all-stars, and they haven't. They haven't even played well all year. They've sucked. I don't care what anybody tells me. I don't care how many home runs each guy has hit. They both have sucked, especially with runners in scoring position. And if Alonso and Nimmo have also been hitting like I hate saying the back of the baseball card. I hate saying that analogy, but I'm going to use it right now. If Alonso and Nimmo played to the back of their baseball card, we would be much higher in the standings in the wild card. We'd potentially be fighting for the division right now with the Phillies. Because Lindor is playing great. The rotation, the starters are pitching great. The bullpen, I mean, outside of Edwin Diaz's little blunder today, has been pitching great too. It's Alonso and Nimmo. That's it. Those 2 guys get going, the Mets make the playoffs. That's the simple equation right there for the Mets. Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso play to the back of their baseball cards these last few games. Mets make the playoffs. That simple. It's that simple. We don't need. Yes, we need Lindor. But if Lindor can take a few days off, that'd be huge. But the reason we're like, oh my God, we need Lindor back ASAP is because these 2 guys who are supposed to be Lindor's co-stars aren't even playing like semi-good. They're not. They're not even semi-pro right now. They're playing terrible. They are playing terrible. And if Nimmo and Alonso got going, the Mets, they'd have a lead in the wild card, and they'd be fighting for the NL East with the Philadelphia Phillies. It's that simple. Because they're pitching, they've been great. The pitching has been fantastic. David Peterson, he had another great game. He went, 7.2 innings, only 1 earned run allowed with 4 hits allowed, 6 Ks, lowered his ERA to 2.86. He's 9-2 on the year. David Peterson is pitching great. Sean Manaea is pitching great. Luis Severino, besides Bryce Harper, he's been pitching great. It's Alonso and Nimmo. It's that simple. It is that simple. So, yes, the Mets cannot hit with the season on the ledge. That is a fact, Yuki. That is a fact. But yeah, I want to talk about Diaz a little bit. We need just more consistency overall. He hasn't. It's the first earned run he allowed since that blunder when he let up a 3-run home run against Arizona on August 28th. So it's the first time all month that he let up an earned run. His ERA raises up to a 3.75 now. But yeah, we just need more consistency out of Edwin Diaz. He has been great at times this year, but he's also been bad. And we need more consistency. We need the guy from 2022 or the guy from the second half of 2021. We need that guy. We need that Edwin Diaz. Will we see it? We need it down the stretch. We do. We definitely do. So we need Edwin Diaz. We need Nimmo, and we need Alonso. Those are 3 guys that we need. And can the Mets still make the playoffs? I mean, I think I just answered that question. You get Diaz. Yes, they can make the playoffs. If they get Diaz, they get Nimmo, and they get Alonso to perform. The reason we made the playoffs in 2022 is because Diaz, Nimmo, Lindor, and Alonso all performed well. If that ain't going to happen, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs. And we're really going to need Lindor to play like an MVP. But if we want to take a little pressure off Lindor, which I think we should, it needs to be Alonso. It needs to be Nimmo. It needs to be Diaz. It needs to be those 3 guys. So it's going to be interesting. The Mets, they got just like the Giants, they got a tough schedule coming up. I mean, they got a little bit of a soft bump. Nationals 3-game series. We got to win those 3 games. We got to sweep them. And then we go to a 4-game set against the Phillies at home. And then the big one, the last 2 series, Braves, probably the most important series all year at Atlanta. We know what happened in 2022 at the end of the year. We cannot let that happen again. We cannot let Atlanta jump us in the standings again, this time in the wild card. 2 years ago was the NL East. This time it's in the wild card. We need to secure at least 2 out of 3 wins against the Nationals, 2 out of the 4 against the Phillies, 2 out of 3 against the Braves, and 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. So the Mets need to take a page out of what they did in 2022. Win series. If they can win each series, they make the playoffs. That simple. Win these next 4 series, and the Mets make the playoffs. That's it. Because that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more losses. That's it. What are we at right now? We're at 68 losses. $89-73. I think that gets us to the playoffs. That'll get us to the playoffs. So we got to win each series. That simple. All right. Let's hop on to the Yankees. We're going to fly through this. Yes. Let's get one more comment, though. Dodgers got Edmonds, Flaherty, go back. Trade on the Mets deadline moves underwhelming. Yes. Yes, the deadline moves were underwhelming for sure. David Stearns, he really tried to improve that bullpen. Some of it did help. Some of it, not so much. I mean, yeah, like you said, it was underwhelming. It was underwhelming. Outside of Jesse Winker, the Mets haven't really gotten a big boost out of any of their trade acquisitions from the deadline. But down the stretch, all they got to do is win series. I mean, they've had one of the best offenses in baseball all year long. You look at their offense, they're 6th in run scores with 4.8 a game. They're top 10 in hits, 8.4 hits a game. On base percentage, they're a top 10 team in that. They're 9th in entire MLB. So, 5th in home runs. So they got to hit. They got to hit. They have to hit. And like Yuki said before, with the season on the ledge, sometimes the Mets don't hit. We need that narrative to change down the stretch. We need it to change. So we'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be interesting. Let's get into these Yankees and let's wrap this show up because I want to watch these games I want to watch these games. Chiefs playing the Bengals right now. I do want to watch that. I want to watch the Rams Cardinals. Cardinals are beating up on the Rams 24-3. And then the Steelers also in the red zone right now against the Broncos. But let's talk some Yankees and let's wrap this thing up. Aaron Judge again doing his thing. 5-2 win over the Red Sox. The Yankees now improved to 88-63. Rodon, an impressive start again. 5.1 innings, 6 hits allowed, only 2 earned runs allowed over those 5.1 innings. And you got to give credit to the bullpen too. Ian Hamilton, Clay Holmes also had a pretty good he did let up a hit, and they did have to pull him, and they put in Jake Cousins. And Jake Cousins, again, a great performance. And Tommy Canley, again, another great performance out of him. So a little better bullpen management from Boone today gets the job done against the Boston Red Sox. And, of course, the top of the order for the Yankees is what gets them the win, too, as well. Gleyber Torres, 2 for 5 today with a home run. You got Juan Soto, who was 1 for 4 today. Aaron Judge, he was 1 for 2 today. Got on base 3 times overall. Well, if you count the home run getting on base, he rounded the bases there. 2 walks, gets the home run, so 1 for 2 on the day. Even Jazz Chisholm, again, 1 for 4 on the day. He scored as well. Stanton, 1 for 2. He got on base twice today, so 2 RBIs as well. Jason Dominguez, he did go 0 for 3, 150 batting of the year, so got to see a little bit more from him. And Anthony Volpe, another young guy, you got to see more out of too. But this is it. This is the Yankees. These are the Yankees. They're top heavy. They are top heavy for sure. They do not have depth. So when you look at the Yankees, you look at the top of the order to provide. And that's it. That's really it. If you're a Yankee fan and you're dependent on Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez and Oswaldo Cabrera, you're stupid. You're dependent on Aaron Judge. You're dependent on Juan Soto. You're dependent on Giancarlo Stanton. You're dependent on Jazz Chisholm. And you're dependent on Garrett Cole. And hopefully the bullpen. You're keeping your fingers crossed with the bullpen. And that's it. Because Carlos Rodon, 15-9 on the year, but he's also got a 4.12 ERA this year. So that ain't good. That ain't good. That's not a guy who you're going to trust taking the mound in the postseason. 15-9 is great, but like I said, that ERA is scary. So it's really Louis Hill and Garrett Cole that you're looking at in the postseason. And Garrett Cole, we definitely need to see him get going as well. Because you take a look at his game log, letting up 7 earned runs against Boston just a day ago. That wasn't great. Really only 3 bad starts from him all year long. 4, actually, I should say. Forgot that Mets one. But 3 bad starts last night against Boston, against the Mets in the Subway Series. He let up 6 against the Mets as well. So the Mets have had his number this year, and so has Boston. And that's about it. He's had 4 bad starts, and 4 of those bad starts have only been against 2 teams. So Boston and the Mets somehow have Cole's number. I wouldn't be too worried about Cole. And also just the energy is just amplified in those series. So Subway Series, Boston, New York, it's always going to be amplified. Can't be shocked. But yeah, going down the stretch, Yankees, you got to like where they're at. They got the division lead. Everybody knew that the Baltimore Orioles were going to be one of the best teams in baseball. And they have been all year. They've been neck and neck with the Yankees. Baltimore, right now, 84-66. So the Yankees do have a pretty good lead on the Yankees with a little bit left to go. They got the Mariners, A's, Orioles, and Pirates. So just like the Mets, you win each series, you win the division. And the Yankees got to win the division because, let's see where they rack up. Right now, they would be the number 1 seed in the entire American League. You got Cleveland, 86-64. Houston, 80-68. So the Yankees are fighting for that number 1 spot, not only in the AL East, but the number 1 spot in the entire American League. And if they can get that number 1 seed, we all know how good that will do. Because let's be real. They can beat Minnesota, they can beat Kansas City, and they can beat Baltimore. They can beat Baltimore. Baltimore sometimes has their number. Sometimes New York does well. It's been literally head-to-head. New York, Baltimore, they're right there against each other. So it's definitely going to be interesting over these next few weeks down the stretch. We'll see what happens. We're in a great time. If you are a New York sports fan, you got to be happy. The Jets are playing well. Daniel Jones bounces back. The Yankees with another win. Mets, nobody expected the Mets to be where they're at right now. So you got to be happy. You got to be pleased if you're a Mets fan. You definitely want more, but you got to be happy. So keep your head up if you're a Mets fan. Hopefully they can get a little bit of a bump against the Washington Nationals against this in this next 3-game series. Yankees, playing Seattle. Seattle has they've been terrible all year long. Seattle 76 and 73. They're nothing that the Yankees are. So they got to beat up on them. But yeah, Giants, these next 6 weeks, they kind of suck for them. And then the Jets, we got 3 soft opponents. So it's going to be a big next few weeks. We'll see you guys. I'm going to probably go live next Friday. And then Sunday is probably going to be the new day because Jets and Giants back in business. Let's go watch Sunday Night Football. Let's go watch Chiefs, Bengals. Let's get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. We got over 200 right now. I'm not sure if it's on X or on YouTube, but wherever you're watching, thank you guys. And if you're watching on X, go to the Twitter bio, hit the link, go to YouTube and click subscribe. We're trying to get to 350 right now. Deuces.